at the end of the day, like, if you lose a 1v1, like, there's always excuses and coping, right? But ultimately, like, it's your fault if you lose a 1v1. If you lose an invasion, like, it's healthy to, like, think to yourself that it's still your fault and that you should be improving on many aspects. But the truth is, like, you don't control, like, frame traps, you don't control all the bullshit and the unbalance that happens when you're fighting multiple people. So at the end of the day, even if you try to be accountable for your mistakes when you're invading, it's not all, like, it's not really your fault, because you're fighting a fight that you're supposed to be losing. So it's much easier to take an L when you are invading, for instance, than if you were dueling. It's not true for everyone, like, everyone sees it differently, but for the most part, if you're being honest with yourself, that's definitely true. Like, it's, if you lose in a 1v1, it's going to be your fault. But if you lose in an invasion, chances are it's actually not your fault, even though it is on some levels. Like, invasions are like a hockey game. Like, you don't always control, like, for those of you who know a little bit about hockey, like, the puck is so tiny that a lot of times in the professional league, in the NHL, goalies and teams will get scored on with wacky bounces that look like it's complete luck, but that luck started from one bad play at one point in the game, right? So, like, the fact that the other team, let's say, got in control of the puck, that's where the mistake was made. So when you're trying to be accountable, when you're invading, that's what it comes down to. Like, you had to make a mistake at some point in order to get into that situation for you to get blendered. Like, for instance, engaging a 3v1 in open space. That was likely, like, what led you to getting blendered, and the blending situation made it impossible to escape. Like, you were guaranteed to die, but the mistake was made when you decided to engage that situation that had low chances of success. Oh, I didn't think you would not roll that. So that's why we say that when the skill for invaders is more about macro managing, and for dueling it's micro managing, because what I described to you is a macro problem. It's basically a strategy problem to solve. Like, when do you engage? Like, when do you go into battle? Like, what are the best situations in order for you to get you best chances at victory? Whereas with dueling, it's like you have a set of decisions in front of you. You recognize, let's say, patterns that your opponent is doing. You identify a solution and then you apply it. Like, it's much more like micromanaging. And the same way that when you're invading, you're gonna be gravitated toward, let's say, Crimson Sea Talisman for swaps, whereas when you're dueling, you're gonna be gravitating toward, like, Defense Talisman to swap. Like, one being more centered around, like, just a few percentage of extra defense, where the other one results in, like, large amounts of extra healing. So even, like, when it comes to talisman swapping, this also applies. Wow, okay. Okay, I'm thinking that they probably are in the shortcut, though. That answers it. You alone, buddy? He didn't kill the pots, though. And he was alone. That's strange. By the way, that secret area is a death trap. Never go in. Yeah, absolutely. You're right, like, Ranking. There's a ton of areas that I still play in. But, like, for instance, if you invade at the beach, like, your chances of winning invasions at the beach are so low that technically it's not even worth attempting, because no matter, like, how good you are, like, these situations are, like, stupidly, like, against you to the point where it's not even fun anymore. But it makes for some good content. It's nice to win the impossible, for instance. But technically, if you were to play smart and play well, you should not be engaging in those, like, guaranteed dead areas, for instance. And there's a lot of them in Elden Ring, like that platform right before Placidusax. There's that, you know, before Rykard, you guys know that, like a bunch of caves and shit. Like, you should not be fighting there, it's just that simple, but... I mean, even though I say that, and I sometimes sever there, like sometimes I actually play there anyway, just because I feel like it. And the talisman actually makes sense in my opinion. Because the hyper armor is so strong, I can hardly attack here. There you go. Okay, there they are. Ooh, there they are, but... Oh my god. I feel like there's one like here, right? Oh! He has one too. Wow, return to his world, dude. That is a sad phantom. Oh, I didn't hit him, but I did. I mean, that should sleep you. And then the second best one is the one where your bolts do full poise, but you can hardly aim it. Just space that. Weapons which are just like, or abilities that are just like mash stuff, and these guys like only think about PvE, and sometimes they just think about the ability looking cool, which is usually what most devs do, and I know for a fact this is what Miyazaki does. Oh my, the damage, dude. This guy can kill me in 2 Ash of War. Have to be careful about that. You know what? I think it's safer to do this even. That's a decent trade, I guess. Oh shit! I didn't even see the host. What the hell? He kind of blended in with the colors and everything. feel like we did some nice target switching, but there you go. There you go. PvE did all the rest. Like, there's not really that many games that... Thank you, Sight. This would have been so cancer. These types of games, like, what game out there, what, like, sort of game like Elden Ring is out there that allows us to, like, to benefit from such amount of FPS on my last attempt, but I wasn't recording, so I guess it's just bragging without any proof. And that's unfortunate because I could have been decent content. Wow, that's some damage. That's the specialty of one person. Then you need to have the programming of the boss itself to be well executed. Otherwise, you have, let's say, the tracking of the boss is like awful and the animations don't line up with what is supposed to happen. Speaking of animation, you need the animations to be done well. And if the animations don't look fluid, well, the boss fight feels like shit. So that's another one. And then after that, you need the model itself of the boss to look cool. So you need a good modeler. And that's not even to mention like rigging and like all the little details that are involved in that as well. So basically, there's a lot of things that go into making a good boss battle. Like a lot. And all of these steps are very time-consuming. Oof, that was close.